Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, councillors, officers, members of the public, anyone watching on the TV, to this meeting of the Planning Applications Committee of the 21st, 20th? It's in November. Item 1 on the agenda, apologies. Have we had any apologies?
Thank you, Chair. We've received apologies from Councillor Jonathan Quinn.
Okay, thank you. Item 2, minutes of previous meeting. I have 2 sets here, I believe, to sign. They've been circulated. Everybody happy with those? Yeah, I will sign, thank you. Oh. Yeah. Thank you very much. Item 3, declarations of interest. Does anybody have a pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest in any of the items under discussion this evening? Councillor Gloud? Thank you. Email? Yeah, everybody?
Ditto everything, actually, because I'm also a trustee of the Rainbow Cafe, Surrey Heath Age Concern, which runs Rainbow Cafe.
Lovely, thank you. Yeah, everybody, I believe, has an email. So we'll get to that when we get there. And we all use the car park? Oh, well.
I'd like to declare that I use the car park.
Okay. Do you use the pavement? Item 4, monitoring enforcement monitoring report. Julia.
Thank you. Good evening, members. I'm here to provide an update on performance for Q2, which runs from the 1st of July to the 30th of September, and talking about the key issues that the team have been subject to. So, unfortunately, we have, again, had a lack of resource during this current quarter, but I'm pleased to report that it has been pretty much business as usual. The same roughly number of referrals sent through to the team for the quarter. The majority of both the new and the outstanding cases to do with the rural side of the borough, so Chobham and Windlesham and Bisley and West End. As far as our enforcement appeals are concerned, we still have 3 cases with the Planning Inspectorate, as you're aware, very much outside our control. So we're waiting for the decisions to come through on there. We have issued a breach of condition notice for Water's Edge development in Midship, and officers from planning and planning enforcement have been working with the developer to get a operational SANG, and we're very, very nearly there now. So a good piece of work for both teams. And Lavershot Barnes, which is a sort of a fairly complex site, we have issued 2 enforcement notices for the site, and an appeal has been submitted by the developers that is subject to being validated by PINS. As far as the uniform project is concerned, our main project, our ICT project, this is still, unfortunately, very much work in progress due to the resource issues in the team. We have made some progress, and officers are now using the system and the document imaging system, but we're working with our ICT colleagues to hopefully enhance the system, to provide us with the open and transparent reporting system that members require. Is there any questions regarding planning enforcement?
Thank you. Members, any questions? Just as a ward member for Mitcham Deepcut, I'd like to thank you and Councillor Whitcroft for the work that you've put in on this, because I think we as ward councillors have had a lot of grief from people wanting to sell their homes and move on. So thank you very much for your work on that. Anybody else? Question? No? Okay, moving on. Item 5, Sarita. The end is near.
We're getting there. We're getting there. This relates to phase 6B. Let's see if I can get the mouse to move. There. 6B is in this area here, and the location is this layout over here on the left. This is the layout that we're looking at this evening. One of the things I think you'll notice from this is that it has a much more open pattern of housing than we've seen on the other deep cut parcels. It is one of the lower density areas because of its proximity to the Sangs. The flats, and we call them flats, but they're literally 2 one-bedroom flats in a 2-storey building, either side of the access through to Carla, which is up here in the north of the site. This is obviously the highest density bit, but the rest of it is predominantly detached houses, and that's in line with the density plan, the 57 houses being provided on this parcel. You'll also notice that we've got one single access point. That is, as with many of the other parcels, part of the implemented loop road, which we now call Bracken Hill. So we have a central access point, and then it comes to the central green bit in the middle, which I can just about get to here, with the trees, and then it branches off into sort of 2 distinct areas of development. We have the local area of play up in this corner here, up by the Sang. Oops, just there. And then we will have extra links through into the Sang, so providing good permeability. And obviously we've got the link through to the Carla parcel, phase 6D to the north. As with all things deep cut, there is a change in levels. The greatest level change is from, if I can get my mouse, from up here with the Carla parcel down to Bracken Hill. That's the deepest one, I think that's about 5 metres. And then we have a slightly lesser one from the top of the site down to its boundary down here with the southern Sang. We have a variety of house types, many of which you will have seen before, because the developer is Bloor, who is also the developer for phase 6C and 4F that you saw last month? Yes, it was last month and in August. So this is their 1-bedroom flats. This is their 2-bedroom terrace of 3. Then we have a pair of semis. Again, and you see how they differentiate with the use of materials as well, just to break up the street scene. We have different roof types and finishes, and again, gable-fronted houses here. Fully hipped roofs here. And we have a mixture of 1, 2, 3 and 4-bedroom houses. So it is quite a comprehensive housing mix on this site. We have general street scenes, and I will have to refer to my notes because I always get this one. Right, so number one. So that is the central area here. So this is the if I can get the mouse here, it is that one here. So we're going from Bracken Hill. No, I can't, and it seems a bit slow. If I try and explain, so the first one is when you're coming in from Bracken Hill, and those houses will be on your left as you come in to the development. Then the one underneath it, which is a central section through, so it is the line going north-south on the left-hand side in the middle. So that's the centre of the scheme, so we're looking through. So the trees in front of the houses, sort of 1, 2, 3, 3 from the right, that's going to be the entrance of the green as you come in. So, and then we have got one that is looking at the Bracken Hill frontage. So that is 6B1 is the frontage one onto Bracken Hill. And then we have the one 6B2, and that's the one that is fronting onto the Sang. So this is the one that's furthest down on the plan. And we have got some CGIs, hopefully. So this is where you're coming in. So you've got Bracken Hill behind you, and this is the little green as you enter the site, and then you go either north or south, depending which housings you want to go to. And this one is from the southern Sang, so it's right in the corner, and it's looking north. There we go. And this is the site before demolition. Our application site is, I can see, there we go. It's difficult to get the mouse to move. Right, so we've basically got this area here up to here, and then it comes across down to the loop road. This is a view of the access from Bracken Hill looking south. So we've got the Carla parcel to the left, and then we've got, this is all of the Bloor parcel here. Substation is already in, and that's part and parcel of the Bracken Hill infrastructure. Where's that coming from? Then we're looking towards the southern Sang here. So this is the access point, and this is the Sang and how it relates to the site. And this is now looking north. So this is the Copper Beach that's being retained in this location here. The trees over here are within the Carla parcel, the pines there. This is looking from within the site, looking towards Bracken Hill. When the water tower was there, all of the buildings on this site have now been demolished, including the water tower. So you can see the Sang to your left. And then that's just a wider view. So you've got the Carla parcel more to the right, and then we've got 6B to this one. And this is looking from the view of the site from the boundary with the southern Sang. So just you can just about see the old water tower in this point here. There are no updates to the report. The parking is to standard, so it complies with the county requirements. The requisite amount of affordable housing is being provided on this site, which is 9 units, and they're comprising 6 for affordable rent and 3 for shared ownership. The building relationships within the site, subject to the conditions set out in the report, are considered to be acceptable. The dwellings meet the National Space Standard, and the gardens are RDG compliant. The recommendation is to grant. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, anyone have any questions for Sarita? Councillor Whitcroft.
I think I know the answer to the question I'm going to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. And the first thing I should say is that I don't have any issues with this individual planning application. It seems fine to me, fits in with the others that have been submitted. It has good access and so on and so forth. So absolutely no problem with this at all. The concern I do have, however, is that as we all know, we've approved an awful lot of Mindenhurst applications recently, and this is the latest one. There is a concern about the degree of building activity that there is going to be over the course, presumably, of the next 12 months or even longer than that. And I'm wondering whether the council has any way of working with the various developers to schedule the movement of materials, etc., in order to avoid clogging up the streets of Deep Cut even more than they are now. As I say, I believe I know the answer to this question, but I'd like to hear it formally, please. Thank you.
The short answer is we do have a degree of control because all of the developers have to submit a construction environmental management plan. As part of that, there will be timings, there will be routings that the developers will have to use. At the moment, we are discussing with the County Highway Authority how we think the traffic movements associated with what's going to be quite a big development project in the next 18 months will actually work. So I think with the exception of Taylor Wimpey, I think Blore and Carla have both submitted their construction environmental management plans already. So we're already looking at those. One of the things that we are mindful of is how do we manage all the traffic movements around the school? How do we manage the traffic movements so they don't go and destroy all the environmental improvements we've just had started in Dipcut Bridge Road? How do we also try and tie that up with what's going down the road with, I think it's Bewley Homes who are doing the old Frimhurst Farm, because they don't have the same kind of controls that the main site has. So there's a lot of things that we're thinking about. We want to make sure that it doesn't cause too many issues. One of the issues we've currently got, and we're going to have it until probably next September, it's the fact that we've still got Mindenhurst Road as part of it as being single carriageway for bits of it, or one way. I know that the County Highway Authority want to try and limit all the traffic movements around Bracken Hill. So you come in through Bracken Hill and you go back out and you go north. But we're still having conversations about that because obviously that is right where the school comes out. So we're still discussing what we think would be the best traffic routing in relation to how that will work. I won't tell you it won't be disruptive because it will. You cannot build this number of houses and have it all hunky-dory. And there will be days where there will be disruption and there will be issues, simply because it's not possible for it to be perfect and all the time. But we will be actively managing what they're doing. And we have a developer here this evening, so he will hear the debate as well. So he will know what will be expected of them. As do all the others. So yes, it is something that we are aware of, and we are trying to work to minimise the impact on the existing residents, but also making sure that it doesn't destroy all the things we've done so far.
Thank you. Do you want to come back on that?
Briefly, yes, if I may. I'd just like to say that's better than I expected. I also note that we record these meetings nowadays, so that's something that is going to be noted by residents in Deep Cut. But I accept the point you make about it's making omelettes and breaking eggs, isn't it? So yeah, sure, okay. Just one other point: the development of Frimhurst Farm is quite well advanced, which is good news, because hopefully over the course of the first part of next year that will be complete, I would imagine. Thank you.
Councillor Garrett.
Thank you. I must admit I had an equal concern as Councillor Whitcroft. I mean, obviously I have no problem with the planning application we had before us. Can you just, so how many developers are we talking now that we could all be starting at the same time? And is it us that polices this, or is it county that polices this to try and work out? Because I'm guessing if there are 5 developers, we are going to have 5 different site managers rather than just one site manager. Is that a true representation?
I would assume that Bloor will have one site manager. Yeah. I assume Taylor Wimpey will have one, and Carla will have one, because Bloor have 3 parcels, Taylor Wimpey have 2, and Carla have 1. In terms of policing it, I think the first thing we need to do is get the construction management plans right, and that's something that we are doing at the moment for some of them. Not all of them have come in yet, because we know if it goes wrong, the first people they will come to is us. So we need to make sure that we have got robust plans in place. I won't say that they won't have moments, because they will. I won't say, because that's just the nature of the beast. And there will be new people coming in, and they won't necessarily think, oh, I don't see why I can't go up this road. And then we'll have the conversation that we always have about Old Bisley Road. So it is just making sure that we get it right as far as we can. It will be policed by us, and it will be policed by the County Highway Authority, particularly in terms of the traffic routing beyond Deep Cut. So that's going to be the Old Bisley Road and everything else.
Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. It's a bit of a bizarre question, for which I only half apologise. Who's responsible for maintaining the street lighting?
At the moment, on Mendenhurst Road, it will be the County Highway Authority, because they're going to be adopting that. In terms of Somme Road at the top, that also will be County Highway Authority, so that will be Surrey County Council. Within the sites themselves, I think Taylor Wimpey and Carla are not going down the adoption route, so they will be maintaining it themselves. All of the Reserve Matters application have requirements to put street lighting details in, so we make sure that the area is lit appropriately, it's safe, because there's no point in putting all of these nice parts and links in if they're not lit, because if they're not lit, people won't use them. It's the very nature. And also making sure that as many of them are overlooked as well. I think Bloor are looking to have some adopted, or? Yeah. Yeah, so Bloor are looking to have theirs adopted by the County Highway Authority. So again, that will go to Surrey County Council.
That's very reassuring to hear, less reassuring on the other ones, because we know some of the problems that has occurred. And also, presumably, if they all went bankrupt or out of business, you're then left with an issue, aren't you, if it sits with the developer?
I would anticipate that they will have management companies. So.
Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. Just a short question, this one. It's about the consultee responses. It says from Surrey Police, it says, provides information on secured by design. Now, we know there's a focus on the borough on the worry about burglaries in particular, but secured by design is it's like a general police programme, not specific to Surrey Police. It's about designing out crime, antisocial behaviour, counter-terrorism, and all the rest of it. So is that their response? It's just go and look at the website? And also, do they ever come back? And because there's SBD gradings of bronze, silver and gold, depending on how good the design is, do they ever come back and make these level awards?
It is very much something it's a choice for the developer if they want to go for secured by design. One of the interesting things that we have is that potentially there are conflicts between secured by design and what we think is good urban design. Because obviously they will want very defensible boundaries, they will not want links through, so there is a tension between the secure by design, you know, we want this, we want that, but in terms of planning, they wouldn't want the links through because that's not good because they've got a route out. But if you're trying to promote a connected community, you need those links. They would want more fences and walls and more gates, and that would create quite a hard street scene. So again, so it's something for the developer to choose. We don't insist as the planning authority they go for secure by design, because if we put a condition on this, that will do this, we could end up with a completely different scheme because they will want it very defensible.
Councillor Noble.
Thank you, Chair. On 4.2, sorry, it's the setting out the dwelling in the mix of affordable rent and shared ownership. We've got 6 units shown under affordable rent and the total shown as 4, and 3 units shown under shared ownership and a total of 5. Sorry, I'm just getting confused as to, is it 6 and 3, or is it 4 and 5 as shown in the total? It is 6 and 3. Lovely, thank you.
Any more questions? We have a recommendation to approve the application. Do I have a proposer? Councillor Whitcroft. Seconder, Councillor... What? No. Wheeler. Brain freeze. I am so sorry. It's my age. I wish I was. Members, all those in favour, please raise your hands.
That's unanimous.
Thank you very much. And may I say on behalf of all of us, thank you. It's been a Herculean task and you've stuck to it like a trooper. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And just for your information, that with this decision, the committee has approved just short of 700 dwellings since August.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6 on the agenda has been withdrawn. So we go straight to item 7. This is the multi-storey car park. Neville.
Thank you, Chair. The application site relates to the installation of changing places facility within the multi-storey car park on Albert Road, Camberley. These are some photos showing the internal layout of the car park where the development is proposed, whilst the image to the right shows the external elevation of the rear wall of the car park. The facility would be installed at ground floor level behind the Rainbow Cafe, where 2 existing blue badge spaces would be removed to facilitate the development. To mitigate against this loss, the 4 standard bays to the opposite side would be converted to 3 blue badge spaces, resulting in the net gain of 1 blue badge space. The proposal would result in a minor change to the external wall, with the upper half of the brickwork to be replaced with red brick to match the existing wall. No objections have been raised by residents or any statutory consultees, and officers recommend a grant of approval. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Councillor Garrett.
Thank you, Chair. As I think I highlighted at the beginning, I'm a trustee of the charity, the Rainbow Cafe, and speaking to the manager, she had a few concerns, which I think I mentioned to you before, but I just wanted to mention them in the chamber. The concern is when the work starts, obviously the drains are outside the Rainbow Cafe. I think from our communication, they possibly might start January, February-ish time, which I don't think will necessarily affect the pavement licence side of things. But is there anything we can do to make sure that when they are doing the work, it will be less affecting the shop, the cafe? That's question number 1. I do question the parking. It's just when you're talking about it there, I mean, there are a lot of disabled parking spaces within that bottom level. And as a user of that car park, I don't think I ever seen it full. So I do wonder if we actually need more disabled parking, but there may be a percentage thing that we need for that. So that was a concern there. And will there be any issues when they're working on the wall that's closest to the cafe? Will there be extra noise, etc.? Because obviously that could potentially also affect the business.
We'll get back to you.
Sorry, thank you for that. I mean, in terms of your first point, we can add an informative so that the applicant is aware that to make sure access remains at all time open for the Rainbow Cafe. In terms of the disabled parking provision, I mean, by bringing it's an uplift in one space ultimately, but that brings it closer to in line to the recommended guidance for new facilities. And again, in respect of that last comment regarding the noise, I'm sure there will be an increase to the noise to the Rainbow Cafe, but the development time period is 8 weeks over January and February. We can add an informative to ensure that they take best practice guidance, but aside from that, I'm not sure what else we could add.
Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. I just wondered about lighting in this location at night, because I believe the facility is going to be open 24/7 with access with a key. And I just wondered about lighting, because from memory, that particular corner is not particularly well lit, particularly when the shopping centre is closed behind it. And it's just from a safety point of view, that's all. But I may be completely wrong at some time since I've really studied it. But I do remember the lighting as being light at night there.
I think since it's been refurbished, it's quite bright.
Yeah, I mean, as we can see from the images, there is lighting above the area where the forward of the space where the proposed development would be installed.
But that's from within the car park, isn't it?
Yeah.
The access only from within the car park. I'm obviously misunderstanding it, because I thought that the access was from the street.
No, it'd be within the car park.
It's within the car park. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Happy? Councillor White?
It may be in the papers. If it is, I've missed it, and I do apologise beforehand. The access point into the car park, is that going to still be open while work takes place, or is that going to be closed, which would mean the loss of the whole of the downstairs parking for a period of time?
The answer I've had from the applicant is that there's not going to be any issues with that access into the ground floor of the car park.
Any more questions for the officer? No? Okay, we have a recommendation to grant, subject to conditions. Do I have a proposer? Councillor Wilson, seconded Councillor Omani. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Are we unanimous?
Everyone apart from me, please.
So everyone, keep your hands raised for. Anyone who's against, please raise your hand. That's Councillor Wheeler. And there'll be no abstentions.
Thank you, members. That concludes this evening's business. Thank you very much. Safe journey home.